Today on Investigate TV Plus, exploding batteries inside garages, garbage trucks, even pants pockets. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. When this power source ignites, it sends thousands to the hospital. We'll explain ways to protect your family and your property.
This was put in just because of that reason.
Plus, we have an in-depth look at how waste management companies find trashed batteries before they can light destructive fires.
Technology has created a content boom. When you can and can't capture that content, it can keep you out of trouble.
Plus, a state bird once lost, now thriving.
Today, as we're walking across the island, I just kept shaking my head and being in awe.
We'll take you on a tour of the island rebuilt to bring this bird back home.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Take a quick inventory of your house and you'll likely find at least one lithium-ion battery, probably even several.
They're used to power everything from cell phones to cordless power tools, children's toys, electric scooters, and e-bikes.
One U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission report found in the 5-year period from 2012 to 2017, many of those batteries were involved in more than 25,000 overheating or fire incidents. And today, the fires are spreading in more ways than one.
Reporter Heather Graff shows us the newest hotspot linked to lithium-ion batteries and what steps are being taken to educate the public.
Surveillance video shows the moment a lithium-ion battery for an e-bike exploded inside a family's garage in Arizona.
It was really shocking and scary. My husband is the one who actually noticed. He noticed a smell.
And this was the aftermath of a similar situation with a charging e-bike in Hawaii.
Once it had ignited, it started a chain reaction that was very difficult to stop.
Damage linked to lithium-ion batteries and prompting fire departments all over the country to sound the alarm. But the fires are not just happening in homes. They're also sparking inside recycling and waste processing facilities. This one in Wisconsin believed to be caused by a lithium-ion battery someone tossed in the trash. A 2021 report by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency looked at 245 fires that were caused by or likely caused by lithium metal or lithium-ion batteries in recycling and waste management centers, along with landfills, transfer stations, and even garbage trucks. The EPA called it a growing concern for the industry and noted some of those fires were large and destructive, destroying entire facilities, causing millions of dollars in damage and even injuries to firefighters.
So the risk is real.
As chief of the Solid Waste Bureau in Arlington, Virginia, Eric Grabowski knows that risk, not just from the EPA's warning, but from the battery-fueled fires he's seen firsthand.
We've had truck fires, even down the street here. One of our crews discharged their load into a parking lot in one of the middle schools in the area here because their truck was smoking, and to save the equipment, they just dumped it in a parking lot, and the fire department responds and puts it out.
And when you consider hundreds of garbage trucks arrive at places like this every day, workers at Covanta's waste-to-energy facility in Alexandria, Virginia, will tell you the fire hazard expands exponentially.
How big of a concern is that to you and your team here?
Well, it's a big concern. Lithium batteries are very prevalent and they're just increasing.
So much so that the Fire Research Group at the University of Texas at Austin has been studying them for years, conducting on-camera experiments in the lab to both illustrate and better understand fires related to lithium-ion batteries.
On the one hand, we don't want to fearmonger and make people sort of afraid of this important technology for the energy transition, but it's also important to be aware of what the risks are.
UT professor of mechanical engineering Dr. Afadike Azakoyi says the batteries are generally safe when properly stored, charged, and discarded. But when a battery is damaged or overheats, fires can happen.
The challenge is that it's inconvenient presently for many people to dispose of used electronics devices.
The question now is what to do about it. Back at Covanta, staff showed us how they're trying to mitigate the threat on the back end.
This was put in just because of that reason.
With infrared cameras that scan the trucks and the trash, working to detect lithium-ion batteries in hot spots before they ignite.
What it will do, it will help give us notification of a heat source.
And while that technology is helping, everyone we spoke to said the real solution requires support from battery users on the front end.
I believe it's just awareness.
Probably not enough effort is put there, and it's a bit of public education.
We put together a social media and radio ad campaign just trying to instruct people how to manage batteries more safely.
In Arlington, Eric says proper disposal means people must bring their lithium-ion batteries to local drop-off locations for household hazardous waste.
Computer batteries, phone batteries.
Where staff are trained to sort and separate before they're transferred to a third-party vendor that specializes in battery recycling.
The bottom line is we want batteries not in a trash cart, not in a recycling cart, but taken to one of your household hazardous waste collection sites. That's the bottom line.
And on the national level, the EPA is pushing a similar message, linking to websites like earth911.com and calltorecycle.org, where anyone can search by zip code to find a safe lithium-ion battery disposal site near you.
We reached out to the EPA and found Congress has tasked the agency with developing best practices for battery recycling and new battery labeling guidelines. The EPA said Congress has allocated $25 million for that project and set a deadline of September 30th, 2026. In Washington, I'm Heather Graff.
As for those lithium battery-powered products inside your home, here are some key tips from firefighters. Avoid heat sources and anything flammable. You should always follow the manufacturer's instructions and never charge a lithium-ion battery unattended or overnight. Unusual odors, leaking, changing shape, and odd noises are all signs the battery is overheating.
There's more potentially dangerous batteries powering our lives, even tiny ones putting your kids at risk.
By the time you walk the 5 feet to them, it can be in their mouth already. It happens fast.
We'll explain how one type of battery can quickly become lodged in a child's throat and tell you the symptoms and treatments parents need to know.
Sitting here talking to you, I'm in an extreme amount of pain. It's excruciating.
And it's not just kids you have to worry about. Overheating and exploding vape pens have sent people to the hospital. Up next, the steps for properly charging your smaller electronics.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. There was no warning.
It was just instantaneous from 0 to 1,000.
Jason Stein felt his vape pen explode in his back pocket.
It was like when you light off a flare, it was kind of, and it was my pants on fire.
It happened while he was driving in Phoenix, Arizona. He said he grabbed an ice cream cone that had just flown from his hand to try and pat out the flames. His key fob and chain scorched by the fire.
There's a melted coin.
The FDA says vape explosions are rare, but it can happen. According to a study published in Tobacco Control from 2015 through 2017, ERs in the U.S. reported more than 2,000 e-cigarette explosion and burn injuries.
That's where the flames shot out.
Stein's burns were severe, and the photos of his injuries are too graphic to share.
So I've got an injury right here, a small one right there, and then the whole back of my leg is skin grafts, so it's all hamburgered up.
Stein doesn't know what caused his vape to explode. He thought he was using it properly.
I never thought that day when I was leaving that something like this was going to happen. It never even crossed my mind.
The FDA suggests protecting your vape from extreme temperatures like direct sunlight. It also recommends charging the device on a clean, flat surface away from flammable items like pillows and couches. Such small devices can cause major damage, and button or coin batteries are no different.
While these are not known to explode, the batteries can cause severe burns, especially if swallowed by a child.
Lynn Kawano has an in-depth look at how quickly the battery can cause injuries.
These tiny batteries can power dozens of devices. But to a toddler, its shiny appearance is enticing. When ingested, the batteries become ticking time bombs.
The main worry is actually when it's stuck on your esophagus. That's when it causes the major damage.
To show you just how quickly these tiny batteries can damage the throat of a child, we're putting a brand new battery into one chunk of Spam and then a dead one into another chunk of Spam. And then we start the timer. In 15 minutes, the meat surrounding the old battery starts to turn color. In 30 minutes, the liquid around the new battery starts to bubble. Within an hour, both have caused chemical burns. As you can see, the dead battery caused just as much damage to the Spam as the brand new battery. This highlights the importance when you change out a battery, don't just leave it on the counter and walk away. Doctors at Kapiolani Medical Center for Women and Children see a handful of cases a year of kids who swallow a battery.
It can be life-threatening for kids as well.
So it can actually burn a hole?
Yes, it can burn a hole through your esophagus.
An 18-month-old Texas girl died in 2020, days after surgery to remove a button battery that got lodged in her throat. Reese Hamsmith's mother was behind federal legislation called Reese's Law that now mandates warning labels and more secure packaging.
By the time you walk the 5 feet to them, it can be in their mouth already. I mean, it happens fast. It has to start with knowing where these batteries are.
They're found in items used daily: car key fobs, watches, musical greeting cards, kids' toys, hearing aids, and more.
Damage can start happening within 15 minutes of swallowing the battery. Ideally, we wanted to get it out within the first 2 hours.
If you don't see the child swallow a battery but notice one is missing, check for the signs: vomiting, drooling, refusing to eat or drink, and of course, anything that resembles a child choking. Get to the ER or call 911 right away.
I don't know if I'm ever going to look at Spam the same. That Spam test that we saw?
Not at all. I didn't realize how quickly the burns could happen, and that Spam test was the perfect example to show parents these are dangerous. Keep them away from kids.
Her reaction, you should have seen her reaction as her mouth was like, what,
It
wide
was
open?
shocked.
It was shocked.
I had
yes.
no idea it happened that quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. If you think your child has swallowed a battery, Poison Control says do not induce vomiting. Instead, take them to get an X-ray right away.
And there's also a 24-hour National Battery Ingestion Hotline. You can call the number on your screen.
A part of one state's history thought to be lost is found again.
We're seeing brown pelicans nesting throughout the whole island.
We'll show you what it took to give the brown pelicans a place to call home.
Plus, whether it's a candid moment or a phone call, you'll want to know the laws before you hit record. Next, we'll explain when or where you should be asking for consent. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes. There are many reasons you might want to pull out your phone and press record, but it could benefit you to hit pause and ask yourself a few important questions first.
In this Be Your Own Investigator, reporter Josie Sturman explains when you need to ask for consent so a video posted on social media does not get you in trouble with the law.
You've probably been there. You see a confrontation unfolding in a store or someone doing something entertaining on the sidewalk. You might think to yourself, can I record that? Or maybe you're planning to dispute a charge on your credit card and you want to have proof of the conversation. Can you roll on that phone call? In this Be Your Own Investigator, we'll tell you what you need to know about staying on the right side of the law before tapping that big red button.
Recording laws are made primarily at the state level, and in most cases, it's all about the where and the who. The where is all about privacy. In most states, if you're in a public place, say a hotel lobby, you can probably take that video no problem. But if you're somewhere someone would have what's called a reasonable expectation of privacy, like a public bathroom, you're gonna need their permission first. Now the who is a little bit more complicated, and it's all about who's aware recording is actually happening, regardless of whether it's video or just audio. Some states require everyone being recorded to consent, or at least to be made aware, while other states say you can roll if at least one of you agrees. This is one-party or two-party consent, depending on where you live. Now, if you're thinking of recording a phone call, does the name Linda Tripp ring a bell? It's important to know the laws of the state you're in, and also where the person you're calling is located. When it comes to public officials on the job, like on-duty police officers or lawmakers, the First Amendment generally protects your right to record as long as you don't interfere with their work. If you want to know more about the laws where you live, check out the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. Their online guide breaks down laws and rights in each state. It's what we use, and it may come in handy the next time you reach for your phone to capture a viral moment. With this Be Your Own Investigator, I'm Josie Sturman.
So what about recording at work?
You'll likely find countless posts on social media of someone explaining their job or recording a rude customer. But it's also important to check with your employer about the policies that are in place.
You want to make sure you're not violating any privacy laws or disclosing trade secrets.
Next, the story of a lost bird.
We'll explain the history of how thousands of brown pelicans found their way home.
I'm Viv Williams of the Medical Mythbuster Moment. The myth: shaving makes your hair grow back thicker and darker. That long-standing myth is not true. NCH Healthcare System in Southwest Florida debunked this myth on their website. They say shaving facial or body hair results in the hair having a blunt tip. Newly shaved hair feels thicker and looks darker, but as it grows out, you'll notice the end result is neither of those things. With this Medical Mythbuster, I'm Viv Williams.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms. The brown pelican once nearly vanished from Louisiana after a chemical pesticide wiped out the population. But thanks to reintroduction efforts, a tiny island south of New Orleans is supporting new life.
It's taken years of major restoration work as hurricanes and an oil spill have threatened the state bird. But now thousands call Queen Bess home.
Reporter Dave McNamara takes us on a rare tour of the island during the peak nesting season.
Queen Bess Island, located barely 3 miles from Grand Isle, is only a few dozen acres in size. But what it does for the brown pelican and other coastal birds is amazing. The shoreline of Queen Bess, fortified with rocks that help hold the island together, is crowded with pelicans loafing at the water's edge. You hear the constant screeching of laughing gulls and other seabirds. This is where they all nest, in the coastal shrubs and grasses and sand.
Pelicans, in many cases, nest in shrubs. That's where they nested out here prior to the restoration. And then you have ground nesters. And so some of those ground nesters prefer vegetation, like the laughing gull nests. Others prefer bare ground.
Robert Dobbs, a bird specialist with Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries, carefully guides me across the island. We walk slowly to avoid nests, which can be tucked away in the vegetation. There are thousands of active nests.
We saw lots of eggs. We saw chicks anywhere ranging from maybe a day or two old up to what looked to me to be, possibly 5 weeks old.
In the 1950s and 60s, the pesticide DDT wiped out all of Louisiana's brown pelicans. Queen Bess Island is the first place those birds began nesting again when they were reintroduced more than 50 years ago.
So this is one of the sites where they brought in pre-fledgling age chicks from Florida to Louisiana. This was the first site where that introduction effort was successful. The first nests in Louisiana after the reintroduction effort occurred here.
But Queen Bess was heavily impacted by the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill, and it's been pounded by hurricanes, including Category 4 Ida in 2021. Queen Bess underwent a major restoration the year before Ida swept across the island.
We actually added to the rocks that the Corps of Engineers had put here to strengthen the perimeter of the island. And then we raised the elevation by as much as 4 feet above sea level in the highest part, and sloped it down to where we just nourished the marshy area at the north end that was always the healthiest part of the island.
Katie Freer-Leonards is a project manager with Louisiana's Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority. She is impressed by this island's resilience.
Today, as we're walking across the island, I just kept shaking my head and being in awe of the variety of vegetation that we have that's really starting to look thick and rich, and we're seeing brown pelicans nesting throughout the whole island.
With a significant amount of help, the state bird was reborn here. And the pelican not only survives, but is thriving today on Queen Bess.
There's a similar restoration project happening about 300 miles west.
Yeah, fines from the 2010 BP oil spill helped pay for a project on Rabbit Island, which is the only brown pelican colony in southwest Louisiana. The first year for nesting was in 2021, and researchers have not released their findings yet. And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm T. Chappelle. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus.
Hazing, the word, is treated lightly. It really is abuse.
Bonding rituals taking a deadly turn. Our team uncovers why most of the groups involved get away with little to no consequences. Plus, our country's future facing a mental health crisis.
That's, you never want to outlive your children. I mean, that's not how it's expected to be.
Why families in rural communities face tougher access to care, and how you can start an important conversation with your child.